All right, so now that we have our optics set up and everything's good to go, we want to start working on the actual magnification settings and discuss the zero settings in case you want to use them. But before we do anything, I want to go ahead and correct the brightness. So as you can see, the optic itself is a fair bit brighter than, say, your main camera. If you are already, I guess depending on when you watch this, it's likely already set for you, but I I had changed this capture source uh, in as of this date moving forwards. It should be up on the marketplace. I haven't submitted it as an update just yet, but basically, if you change it to any of the scene color HDRs, you should be good to go. So for the case of this, I'm just going to set it to the top one. And as you can see, now the lighting has been corrected. Everything looks more one to one. I guess I guess that's what you'd say it. Anyhow, magnification settings, pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and create the data asset for it. So we're going to go to data, create a new data asset, and search for magnification. So here we're going to do it it's more specific per, I guess you could say, magnification range of optic. So for example, we'll do DA underscore magnification settings underscore, and here we want to do the range. So I'm going to load up the optic that this is for, and we look at the starting magnification, which is 3, and it ends at 20. So it's a 3 to 20. So we're going to do DA underscore magnification settings underscore 3 through 20. Open that up, and we're just going to set it. So now that we have that, let's change the first magnification here to 3, and then we're going to do kind of a couple more. So we need to go to 3 and end at 20. So we're going to go to 3, let's just double it to say 6. We'll do 10, 15, and 20. All right. And that's pretty much it. So we'll cover the rest of these once we get the actual magnification set up to where we can zoom in and out. So let's do that really quick. We can go to our character blueprint, and this is pretty simple. So I'm just going to copy one of the left mouse buttons for an input and change it to be mouse wheel up. All right, I guess I'm doing mouse wheel down, and do another one that is mouse wheel. What was it? Mouse wheel up. So we want mouse wheel up and mouse wheel down. So what we want to do is grab the shooter pawn component, grab the current optic component, and simply call zoom in and zoom out as we see fit. So zoom in and zoom out, like so. So now we look through it, we can see we are on 3 power instead of 1 power like before, and we can zoom in and we can zoom out. So as you can see, the eye box is getting progressively smaller as we zoom in. So that is something that needs to be corrected. So if we head over to our magnification settings, we're going to want to have that open, as well as, let's go ahead and open the reticle material. So to begin, the first thing that I want is I kind of want a little bit bigger of a eye box in general, because as I'm on 3 power, the eye box is kind of inside the it's already showing. So we want to make that a little bit bigger. So we're going to hit the drop down for the eye box, and eye box size multiplier, let's just do 1.2. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so now until we get to like a really far edge, we are good to go. And as we zoom in, we can zoom in farther with less of an issue. So next up, let's head to our magnification settings and find the shrink eye box with magnification. So shrink eye box multiplier. So as you can see, this is the amount to shrink the eye box by as you zoom in. So we're at 0.5. Let's drop it to 0.1, make it less sensitive. So that barely did anything. So we're going to go to 0.2. And now we should really only see the eye box as we get really far in. So you can kind of see it shrinking as we get to the max. So we're going to kind of go into the middle at 0.15, like so. Okay. And that's pretty much it regarding the eye box. So we can go ahead and actually close down our material. Actually, before we do that, let me check the size. Let's make the reticle a little bit smaller because that's going to be the starting point. So reticle size, that was at 4 by default. Let's do 2. We'll just have it. And that'll be a good, in my opinion, starting point. We actually need to go a little bit smaller. Drop down to 1. Because once we hit that 20 power, right, there we go. So I'm a lot happier with that. So we can go ahead and last thing, I want to change the colors actually to be black. So we have a black instead of red reticle. And there we go. Okay, so we can close down the material. So let's go ahead and cover kind of what the settings do. Magnifications, self-explanatory what we just did. These are kind of like the, I guess you could say the jump points. So like if I go to smooth zoom and turn that off, you can see I go from 3 to 5 to, no, 3 to 6 to 10, then 15, then 20. You can see how it snaps between. That's what these are basically for. So they're kind of like you don't necessarily need to define the min and max. You can define, the jumping steps between them. At some point, I do plan on setting up some additional kind of like where just none of this matters. You just define the start and the end. So you would just have 2 of these, and then you can go at any rate between them. But that's for the future. So if we turn smooth zoom back on, as you kind of saw, smooth zoom is, instead of it jumping between them, it goes smoothly. So it interpolates to the next magnification. And we can control the rate through here. So if I wanted it to be, let's say really slow, I'll do 2.5. It's going to take a while to zoom in. You can see it's really slow and gradual. Let's see, sensitivity scale. This can be ignored for now. We'll cover that when we do the mouse input stuff. Then we have the shrink eye box with magnification. So if we didn't want to have the eye box shrink as we zoomed in, so I'm going to really quickly, just for this example, load this up and lower the eye box size. So you can see here we have the eye box. As I zoom in, you can see it gets smaller and smaller because of what we set this setting to. So let me revert that so you can see better. So you can see it gets smaller based upon magnification. If we didn't want that, we can turn off shrink eye box with magnification. And now, as we zoom in, the eye box itself never changes. So that's what that handles. So I'm going to do that back to 0.15 and change the eye box back to 1.2, what it was before. So moving on down, we have the is first focal plane. So the difference between first and second focal plane, if you ever bought any sort of magnified optic, you'll usually see that listed. So it'll either be like FFP, SFP, or it'll literally say first focal plane or second focal plane. First focal plane, actually it's probably going to be easier to start with second focal plane because this is what you commonly see in cheaper optics. So here you can see I have a very, very tiny reticle. So in this context, I need to actually increase my reticle size. So let me bump that up to like, I don't know, 5. And let's go a little bit bigger because it's typically, we'll do 8. So heck, even that's kind of small, 12. So with second focal plane, you typically end up with we need to fix that little pop in. You typically are going to have, I'm trying to think of how to word it. Your magnification doesn't scale with, your reticle size does not scale with your magnification. So it's a different kind of way they orient the glass. So you can see as I zoom in, the reticle stays the same. So this is where you commonly see a marking in your magnification on your optic. So like pretend In this case, it's likely they would do it at, say, 12 or 16 power. You'd have a little mark there. And what that tells you is at this magnification, your reticle is going to be accurate for your holdovers. So let's just, okay, that was the wrong key. Where is it? So if we pretend that this first mil dot here, let's say these are all in just hypothetically, it's a tenth of a mil. Or screw, we'll just say it's a 1 full mil because it is a mil dot reticle. So from the center of the crosshair to the first mil dot is 1 mil. If we are at 3 power, the difference, the size between here, that is not 1 mil. So if you hold over to this first dot, you are not holding over 1 mil. Same thing if you go to 20 power, you are not holding over at 1 mil. But if you hold over at that 16 power or the 12 power, wherever it has the marking, wherever you hold over there, you are holding over at 1 mil. That's the way they are designed. Same thing with the whatever the MOA version variation of that is. So if we turn that back on, now it doesn't matter what our magnification is, and I forgot I changed the reticle size. What did I do? Like 1, I think. Yeah, something like that. So in this case, regardless of what magnification I'm at, if I put that, that dot over there, that 1 mil dot, it's going to be 1 mil. So if I'm at 3 power and I put that dot on the target, I am holding over 1 mil. If I go all the way up to 20 power and I put that dot over the target, I am again holding over 1 mil. So that's what those settings are for. They're for the accurate holdovers if you want first focal plane. If you want, it just depends on what optic you want to put into your game, because you can do either or. I don't know if games like Tarkov, I don't know what all they do, but like just say hypothetically they have cheap optics. So I don't know, something cost 10,000 rupees, cheap optic, second focal plane, can't really use it for holdovers. Then you can have something more expensive like 20,000 rupees optic. That one, first focal plane, just have your imagination run wild. But anyways, that covers the magnification settings, and good grief, I didn't realize that took up 12 minutes. So I'm going to break the 0 settings into the separate video. It'll be a very short one though. Anyhow, that is going to be all for this video, and I will see you in the next one.